water prison is one of the most upsetting levels in Silent Hill 4. It's cramped, voyeuristic, and full of tragic stories of the children who died there. But before we discuss this level and its relevance to the story, we have to discuss something else. Jeremy Bentham. When I began researching this episode and came across this name, I had a moment of déjà vu, of dawning horror. I suddenly remembered that I knew this name from the myriad of ethics classes I took in college as part of my religious studies minor. See, Bentham was the inventor of a type of ethics called utilitarianism, a really stupid school of ethics that I hated studying. Utilitarianism argues that whatever creates the most happiness is ethical. There's no universal rules or mores, there's no right and wrong. Whatever makes the most people happy, that's the right thing to do. So, say you have a room of 10 people and 9 of those people would be really happy if they could just beat the shit out of guy number 10. Of course, guy number 10 doesn't like that, but hey, the most happiness, right? It's really vague and hard to define, and as a rule, utilitarianism doesn't believe in universal laws or rules or religious standards. It's just a bad system invented by a guy I really don't like. Here's another reason I don't like him. He invented the Panopticon. The Panopticon was Bentham's pet project. He had this vision of the perfect prison, meant to inspire prisoners to regulate their own behavior out of a desire to be seen doing good and not be seen doing something that would get them in trouble. The true Bentham Panopticon allowed for constant, invisible surveillance of the prisoners involved. Bentham saw this plan as being advisable for every kind of compound, from schools to hospitals. But he started with prisons and worked for years to try and get one built. It never happened, and to this day there's no real authentic Bentham Panopticon in the world. There are prisons built in a similar style, but none follow the strict rules that Bentham imagined. In the years following his theory and later his death, dozens of writers went back and examined his idea and found it horrifying. It became a symbol of oppression and invasive observation, used by writers to discuss the dangers of surveillance in the modern age. This type of prison is considered highly unethical and inhumane. And the prison in Silent Hill 4 is very much a panopticon. The children in the prison cells are subjected to 24-hour surveillance, never knowing if and when they are being watched. Multiple notes are found that indicate the children are terrified of being seen. One tries to make it look like he's sleeping on his bed, another tries to hide his dirty clothes, a third hangs himself because he's so tired of being watched. The lack of privacy and safety is enough to drive anyone mad, and it's clear that this pushed these children to the edge as they slowly starved to death in the prison. Silent Hill 4 is a game about observation and voyeurism. Henry is trapped in his own prison, the Room, and forced to observe the outside world from afar. But at the same time, he also spies on his neighbors in his desperation. The water prison puts Henry both in the position of guard and prisoner. While exploring the cells, the player may hear footsteps and see shadows passing over the window, much like the children would. But to solve the whole puzzle and move forward, Henry must look through the peepholes and find the right prison cell. He acts as both the guard and prisoner. The water prison is wet, broken down, and dark. Only one floor has light. Multiple places are damaged and have water spewing out uncontrollably. The building was originally a water treatment plant, which brings to mind something obvious which never occurred to me. Toluca Lake is a water source. It's probably the water source for the people in the area, at least Silent Hill. People drink this water. This water, which has at least 86 dead bodies in it, probably more. It's a creepy thought. The water prison is built on Toluca Lake, a dreary, death-filled place, which isn't so much pretty as it is haunting. Water is a symbol of life, of fertility, the source from which we derive our lives. But this water is tainted by the dead bodies in it, by the pain the children suffer in the prison. Water is constantly moving and flowing. It transforms and changes shape. And this prison also changes shape, moves, and transforms. But it does so to torment the children and hide their dead bodies. The good aspects of water here have all been turned to evil means. The water even acts as an extra layer of imprisonment, keeping them trapped on the island. The bodies of the children are dropped into the kitchen, where one note says they are turned into beef the children eat. Cannibalism is a dangerous thing, as it can spread really deadly neurological diseases that debilitate the entire body. Sadly, I don't think these concerns would ever have been a problem for the children, since they likely starved long before they would see long-term problems. But it adds an extra layer of horror to this prison to know that these children died and weren't even buried or mourned, and their unlucky friends were unknowingly eating them. The levels in Silent Hill 4 are all in Walter's world, his memories, and they're all a little unreal and strange. But the water prison seems the most rooted in reality. Only two aspects are unrealistic. Henry enters the prison through a long elevator that looks like a prison cell dropping into the top of the prison, as if he is descending into hell as a prisoner himself. Another room that seems unreal is the final room, the torture chamber where the dead bodies were dropped. The room is full of water and saws and torture implements. It's likely that Walter never saw this room, and the appearance is influenced by his childhood imagination of what the room might have looked like, and his fear of it. Otherwise, the water prison looks exactly like it would have in real life, likely because the time Walter spent there is burned in his memory. Traumatic events can sometimes become all too real in our minds, remembered vividly with great detail. Another detail that's probably a fabrication of Walter's imagination is the number used to get into the torture chamber. It's 0302, obviously a reference to the apartment. It's a huge coincidence, and in reality, Walter probably never knew the number, and this is part of his creation rather than based on reality. Water as a method of death and pain continues throughout the game. When Henry finds the 18th victim, Andrew is drowned in the water in the basement. The blood on his shirt doesn't seem to be his, as he isn't physically cut or injured. It's more likely from something in this room, since it's full of rusted red instruments, and the water is already discolored from the bodies. The blood probably belongs to one or more of the injured children who Andrew had a hand in torturing and killing. This death is retribution, which is even more clear when you examine young Walter's behavior with him. Young Walter intervenes in adult Walter's actions sometimes. He saves Eileen's life. But though Andrew falls to his knees and begs Walter to save him, young Walter walks away. Andrew has been judged and been found wanting, and knowing what we know about him, I can't say I disagree. Later, when Henry returns to the level, he'll find a note in which a child mentions being forced to drink water with black things, leeches, in it. This is yet another example of water being used to hurt and punish, the source of life twisted into something evil. This experience may have influenced the tremor creatures, leech or slug-like monsters that hang on the walls and ceilings in Silent Hill 4.